Thank you, Mr Chair. It's a great honour, great pleasure to stand up to take a call on behalf of New Zealand First, the only party in real opposition to this debacle of this flag debate that is going on in front of us here, in front of all New Zealanders, of which 70% of the country is now coming out strongly in opposition to the process of what is taking place right here in front of us today. Mr Chair, if it has taken a few people on Facebook to tick a like, to get in behind something and 20-odd thousand people in support of it, then surely the groundswell, the tsunami of support against what is taking place here should be enough for this government to listen to and actually bring this back to the House to say, let's scrap this flag referendum altogether. And I can see the Minister in here shaking her head like it's some sort of a daft idea, but this here, I have to say, Mr Chair, in part one is all about the interpretation of this bill. And when I look at the opposition that we've had all year long, in fact, for about the last 7 years that this government's been in government, in opposition to just about everything that the Greens have come out and said. And yet today we heard this remarkable change of opinion, this replacement, because this government knows that this referendum is in some severe trouble as they're trying to force it down New Zealanders' throats to somehow change what we have grown up with understanding and loving and being supportive of, which is our very proud New Zealand flag that I, for one, am 100% supportive of keeping, and so too are all of our New Zealand First members and the New Zealand First Party. It is a crying shame that the support out there to can this referendum, or at least make it in a democratic fashion, has been overwhelmingly flipped on its head because this government understands the way it sits, it's got absolutely no chance to go through. And the Greens have been the patsy of this government to be able to pull their idea of throwing in red peaks, and we've seen some ghastly sort of alternatives that have been out there in the media and on Google pages already, showing what this red peak flag nonsense is going to look like on the world stage. But I have to say, Gareth Hugh's amendment, to bring this forward to the House and have it absorbed by the government has some serious concerns, because I can see that ultimately they are going to use the Greens to fall on their sword for them, because this will go nowhere. Because the absolute vast majority of the rank and file New Zealanders see this for what it is, and we're not happy with it. Now, Dennis O'Rourke, the honourable member from New Zealand First, has got a number of supplementary order papers in, some amendments that we will be certainly supporting, and when it gets to clauses 1 and 2, we'll be certainly speaking to those this evening, Mr Chair. It defies belief, really, that we've got ourselves into this situation, and we keep using the word democracy, from the changing of opinions from the Prime Minister himself, who's been caught on TV3 and TV1 News talking about the absolute zero chance of red peak flag being brought in, and this flip, this complete and utter change in the 12th hour because of the uncertainty that this flag referendum is going to create some concern, Mr Chair, because it just goes to show that we can't trust what is being said out there, that at the toss of a coin, at the flip of a hat, we can actually have a government turn around and go against something that it had emphatically made clear to the entire country that this would not come into play. Now, what's going to stop them at the 12th hour turning around after the first referendum and saying, actually, we've made our decision, we're not going to even have the second referendum? It would not surprise me or the rest of New Zealand that this is the sort of behaviour of a government that is not following an open and transparent line. It is not following democracy, and this is just another point that proves that very fact. Thank you, Mr Chair. I'll be taking more calls as the evening goes on.